Hello, and welcome to another installment in our series titled 10 Things You Should Know About Money. Today we're going to talk about buying only what you can afford. And for most people, the two largest purchases that you're going to make are a home and an automobile. So let's get right to it. We're going to talk about those two things. Now, in buying a home, you got to be very careful that when you go to seek financing that you don't let the lender or the mortgage broker dictate how much home you can afford. You need to do your own analysis and make sure you look at your budget and come up with an amount that you feel comfortable with. Now, make sure when you come up with that amount that you look at the total cost of ownership outside of maintenance and those sort of things for your home. The total cost of ownership is principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and if you've got less than 20% equity in the home, private mortgage insurance or PMI. So make sure that when you're coming up with the budget of the amount that you can afford each month, that you take into account all those pieces. And then from there, you can determine how much house you can afford. So you have to really kind of work that process backwards. Come up with the amount that you feel comfortable spending each month, and then work backwards to the amount of home that you can afford. Because you don't want to end up with, and you may have heard this term before, something called house poor. And basically, that's someone who has essentially bought too much house for their budget. So in other words, if their budget really kind of dictated that they could pay $1,500 a month, but they really stretched and said, but this home that I'm looking at, it has all the things that I want, but it's the payment's $1,800 a month. See, that's $300 more than their budget dictated for them to be comfortable with, so that now every month they're really struggling to make that payment, and they're not able to do a lot of the other things that they want to do because they have to make sure that they pay their mortgage and keep a roof over their heads. So you don't want to end up in that situation. Now, the other thing, the same logic applies when you're looking at a vehicle. Now, again, a lot of times you go to the lot and sometimes salespeople will try to push you into a more expensive vehicle that maybe has, more features than what you really need. So, you need to establish before you go into the dealership how much you can afford each month and what features are the most important to you. You may not be able to get everything that you want because if your budget doesn't allow for that, then you've got to figure out what can fit into your budget and from that, what kind of vehicle you can afford, as opposed to letting someone else dictate that for you. Because here again, they're not going to be the ones that are stressing and straining to make those payments every month. You've got to make sure that what you're buying is what you can afford and what you can be comfortable making payments on every month. And a couple other things we want to talk about. Other big ticket items like furniture when you're furnishing your home and things like that. Again, buying only what you can afford. There's a couple ways really that you can do this in a manner that doesn't strain your budget. One is spacing out your purchases. You don't have to completely furnish your home all at once. Maybe you take one room every 2 months or every 3 months so that you can pay those things off and move on to the next room. So you can do it that way. The other thing is, take advantage of those same as cash plans. So in other words, you may have the money, but if the retailer is offering you 90 days same as cash, 6 months same as cash, 18 months same as cash, you can certainly make those payments every month, but keep the balance of your funds in an interest-bearing account. So you make a couple bucks on it while you're still making those payments, and you get the furniture that you want, but it was within your budget, but you just found a more creative structure to make those payments. So hopefully that helps you guys. So remember, when buying a home, don't get pushed into a home that you can't afford. Make sure you set your budget and stick to it. Same with your automobile. You may not be able to get all the features that you want, but stick to your budget because you are the one that has to be comfortable making those payments. Same thing with furniture and other big ticket items like that. Space it out if you can. Use the same as cash plans, but certainly don't overextend yourself. That's really the key to all that I'm saying here is really don't overextend yourself. Respect your budget, establish a number, and stick to that number, whatever it is. So hopefully that helps you guys, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.